Welcome to Pemberley Farm. Well, it's Friday, so it's canning today. Canning day, easy for me to say. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Yes, we're going to can, but before we can, we're going to make blackberry jelly. Back in January, we juiced all of the mountain of blackberries that we had put in the freezer from last year, from the year before in the summer, and we canned blackberry juice. Okay, and so we got out one of the jars of that and measured out the appropriate amount. We've got our sugar, and I know there's more sugar than there is juice, but that's the way jelly is. So we've got butter, because if you it's optional when you at the end when it's boiling and bubbling and it creates foam, if you put a little bit of butter in there, it helps to dissipate that foam some. We're using sure gel pectin at this for this point, and so that's what we're doing. We got our jars ready. You know, it doesn't make a huge amount, and so I've only got 5 jars out here. And you might can see over here covered up, we just took them out of the cooler. This is our yogurt. This is our second batch of yogurt since our cow came in milk. I know we are so happy about that. So also, Ashley will link that video so you can go back and take a look at that. And I will tell you that as summer's coming on, and we have, you know, we already have fresh strawberries, we're about to have fresh blackberries again and fresh blueberries. It is so good mixed with this yogurt. So, and in the fall we'll have pears, and so one of my favorite things to eat is yogurt or cottage cheese, which we've been making that too with pears. So anyway, but let's get back to the blackberries, and so that's what we're going to do. We've got our pot on the stove. We're fixing to get our canner out and get it hot, because if you're doing just pints of blackberry jelly, you only have to water bath it for 5 minutes. So that's a good thing. And I know I've been doing a lot of pressure canning for y'all, so we just thought we'd give you a couple of videos where it, you know, wasn't anything that takes such a long time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in the pot with the pectin and stir it and constantly until it comes to a full rolling boil. And then we're going to add the sugar all at once. That's why it's in a bowl. You don't have time to count out the cups, okay? So this is 3 3/4 cups of juice and 4 1/2 cups of sugar. I hate saying that, but that's the way it is. And so, and then you will stir that to a full rolling boil. Once that comes back to a boil after you've added the sugar, you can then plop the butter in it, and then immediately put it up into your jars and over into the canner for 5 minutes once it comes back to a boil. And remember, in water bath, you have to cover the jar 1 inch to 2 inches. All right, so we've got everything over here on the stove. I've turned the canners on, it's getting hot, and this I've turned it on, and I'm going to add the pectin to the pan. I have to stir it non-stop, and I apologize for the noise. It's a metal spoon and a metal pan. Okay. But you stir it constantly, and you're going to stir it. We're going to stir it till it comes to a full rolling boil. And what does that mean? A rolling boil is one you cannot stir down. Now, let me warn you, do not, I repeat, do not, in a pot this size, try to double the recipe, because you will have all kind of trouble, because it comes up big in these pots once it starts the full boil. And then once you get the sugar in it and it's boiling again, and you got to boil it for a minute, you don't want that kind of trouble. So I don't recommend doing doubling the recipe anyway, but if you did, you would need a stock pot that's bigger than this Dutch oven type pot. So we're just going to continue to stir it until it comes to a boil. All right, we're boiling, and it's not big boil, but it's boiling, and I can't stir it down. I can't make it stop. So I'm going to add the sugar all at once. Get my hand out of the way. Okay. Magic hands up here. All right, so now I'm going to stir this in, and I'm going to continue to stir this until it comes back to a full rolling boil, and I'll boil it for 1 minute. So that's what we're doing. I apologize for the sound of the tea kettle heating up with water in the behind you. We have I want to make sure we have enough hot water in the canner. So it's already come to a boil, the canner has. But once this happens, it happens fairly quickly. Now let me go back to what I said about, not doubling the recipe. I know that there are people who do, and they do just fine. But I would hate for somebody that's new to doing this to do that and have a mess, and then they'll never do it again. That would be a real shame. And so, once you're a veteran at this and you feel like you've got control over it and you know how this is going to act, that's one thing. But please, if you're a novice at this, don't do that. Okay, so anyway, it'll be a few minutes before this comes back to a full boil. Again, that was 4.5 cups of sugar, so that's a lot of sugar in a little bit of juice. But that's what jelly and jam is a lot of the times. Now, when I do figs and pear preserves, I put sugar over them in a pot like this, and I put a lid on it and just sit it on the counter or on the back of the stove when it's not on. And I leave it sitting there for a number of hours, and sometimes even overnight, until the juices start. If I do it late at night, then I'll do it, I'll let it sit overnight till the juices start coming out of that fruit. And then I'll put it on the stove on low and let it just simmer for hours. And that way it makes its own syrup, and it'll cook down to however thick I want the syrup to be that's in that, whether it's the figs or the pears. And I don't have to use pectin. I don't use pectin at all. And so if you don't want to use as much sugar, then you just have to let it simmer longer, and before it kind of gets to the point that you have a little bit of a syrup. All right, so you see that it's boiling pretty hefty. There's no way I can stir that boil down. And I don't know, it's not boiling as much as normal to me, but I think it's because of the eye I have it on. It's not as powerful an eye as the one the canner's on, but that's still a pretty good boil right there. So you see, and it's creating a little bit of foam, which is fine. You can skim it off, or it'll go to the top of your jelly if you put it in there, and you can skim it off then, however you choose to do it. It's just a little bit of foam.
At what point did you add the butter to help with foam?
I added the butter when I put the pectin in the juice. I added the butter then. All right, so we're pouring it up. We brought it over here so you could see better. That's kind of a dark hole over there, and I'm making a mess because I forgot to bring a ladle over here, a big ladle, to do this. One of these days I'll have this kitchen completely outfitted, so it won't matter what I forget to bring from my house. All right, but I am making a mess, and so these are going to be fun to have to clean up. That's why I put the towel down. I don't want this staining my countertop. And you're going to go to about a 1/4 inch headspace. Now, you could put this in jelly jars, but we've got to where we eat, or I eat, and sometimes my husband does, we eat jam or jelly fairly regularly, and so that's why I decided to go ahead and put it in these. And like I told you, it's not gonna, if you're putting it in pints, it's not gonna be a lot of jars. All right, I'm gonna take this up, put it over here, and start pouring it up like this. All right, so there you go. That's what we have. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clean it up, wipe it all down, and put it over in the counter. All right, so we've got them all in the jars. The third jar didn't quite fill up, but it's okay. If it doesn't seal, that's the one we'll use first. So you see that when you do the juice like this and you only do it in pints, it's, you know, doesn't make a lot of pints. It would have it made almost 6 half pints if we had done that. So anyway, but it's okay. We'll use it, and the girls will use it for sure because they like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. All right, so we're going to drop it down and cover it up, and it's going to process for 5 minutes. Okay, all finished. We have 2 3/4 pints, so that's not bad, and it only took 5 minutes to process it, and it's already showing signs, even right out of the canner, of gelling, so that's good. All right, thank you so much for joining us today on our short little video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, please do so, and share and like our videos. Sharing with your friends is very important to help our channel grow. Also, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We are Pemberley Farm Homestead. We teach all kind of things like this at our farm in person, and so if you're interested in things like that and you're fairly local to us, local meaning Northwest Florida, South Alabama, then might have a class you'd be interested in. So check out our Facebook page because we post new classes that are upcoming several times before they actually occur. So again, thank you very much for following us today and watching our little video, and God bless you from Pemberley Farm.